Alright, I don't like discussing hands, but I just saw this guy in MGM, and it reminded me of this guy Terry I used to see in Wisconsin sometimes. Terry was a little strange, but he was awesome. There was a day he asked me for $300. I said no. He kept asking. It took about a half hour for this to end. There was another day he asked me for $1. I gave it to him. He was also there the day I played 32 hours straight. I thought the table was in danger of dying for a while, actually, at like 4 a.m. Friday morning. And then he came to the table. He would play limit a lot of times, and if he did well, he would come to no limit. So he came to the table that day. We didn't break, and I ended up playing 32 hours. A lot of it was with him. If you checked any turn ever, he would bet 50 on the river. So that was great. He had a ton of chips. He had, there was a board that was like, say like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. So the 4 was the low end. The 9 was like the middle, but the 9 jack was the nuts. And he had the 9 jack versus a 9 for a big pot. So he had a lot of money to just be giving you $50 on the river all night. So not only was he part of the reason I played 32 hours, he was part of the reason I made $2,619 in those 32 hours. But there was a night where this was the last time I ever saw him. He had his keys on the table. I'd never seen his keys before, and they were keys to a Jaguar. And I couldn't believe after the time he asked me for $300, especially the time he asked me for $1, that he had a Jaguar. So I asked him about this, and he said, you know, it's not really a matter of expenses, it's a matter of preference. I want a Jaguar, so I have one. All right, whatever. So that's Terry. So that day with the Jaguar, he's in a hand, he's on the river, it's heads up, the other guy needs to act first, and I'm sitting right next to him. So the other guy's putting a bet together, that looks like it's going to be about $50, and Terry says to me, you know, he missed his draw. I know he missed. I'm going to call anything he bets. He says this, everyone at the table can hear it. So as he's saying this, the guy puts together a little more money. So I guess if you had him beat and you heard that, you would bet a little more. I guess you wouldn't want to go crazy, but you would bet a little more. So as the guy's putting together a little more money, Terry says to me, but loud enough so everyone could hear, you know, he's hearing me say this, and he thinks he's going to bet bigger and get me to fold. But I know he missed. There's no amount of money he could bet, and I'm not going to call him. Whatever he puts out there, I'm going to call him. The guy puts together more and more money. So what started out as like a $50 bet is turning into like a $140 bet. This guy just keeps putting these chips together behind the line, and Terry just keeps saying to me, he can't get me to fold. I'm calling anything he bets. He can go all in, and I'm going to call him. So eventually the guy bets, it was somewhere between 125 and 150. He slides it out there. Terry snap calls, and even though he doesn't need to show first, he does show first. He shows third pair, no kicker, and the other guy mucks. So that was a combination of one of the best reads I've ever seen in my life, and one of the best, you know, speech plays to get more money out of the hand he had also. He didn't do a lot of things like that day we played 32 hours, but that was the last time I saw him, and that was one of the great hands of all time by Terry. So I just saw a guy in MGM who looked like him, and that reminded me of that hand.